T.C. Weber. He runs the blog Dad Gone Wild, and he has been covering all of this corruption with the Nashville School Board. He is going to join us at 7:35 here. And in that blog, you have been basically tracking, it seems to me, like the corruption that has been going on in Nashville schools. And the school board, you, my friend, go all the way back to Sean Joseph, like 10 years ago that I was talking about him.
Yes, I go even back a little further than that, about a year or two, to his predecessor and all that kind of clamor over at East Nashville and all. So, yeah, I've had a front row seat for all of it for probably the last little over 10 to 12 years.
All right, so the blog is called, again, Dad Gone Wild. And
correct.
Why have you decided to focus on Nashville schools? Do your kids go there?
I've got 2 kids in Nashville school, and my wife is also a teacher. And so back about 13, 14 years, I got an up-close look at what it all looked like, and I realized how little teachers could actually say or impact the system. And so I said, well, I'm not connected with it. I'm going to go ahead and write some stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get this information out there so parents can understand what the story behind the story is.
All right, so let's talk about the story behind the story. Right now, we're talking about Adrienne Battle. She is in the news. I just regaled the audience yet again with my complaining about the lawsuits totaling $6.5 million, $1.3 million each. And so my question is this, Dr. Adrienne Battle, what does she have on who? How is it possible that she can cost the district $6.5 million in lawsuits and not get fired, no consequences, no repercussions whatsoever?
Yeah, it's completely baffling that the board allows this to go on. But if you look at the school board over the last 7 to 10 years, they have taken the position and then not done the work. You know, they've argued that they've had one employee, and that's the director of schools, but then they turn around and fail to administer to that one employee, to oversee the work of that one employee. And I think part of it goes back to is with Sean Joseph, they decided that it was better to get along than actually do the job. So they feel that they're being successful if they're putting out a united front with no dissension. Because if you were around in 2016 and 2015, the board fights were interesting. There was a lot of dissension going on. In the time of Fran Bush, Fran tried to speak up. These days, if you watch a board meeting, nobody speaks out of turn. Everybody toes the company line, and I think what we've lost is any oversight in what taxpayer money is and the actions of the school director or the director of schools.
What is, I don't know if you know this, what is the history of Dr. Battle? I mean, was she a teacher? Was she always like an administrator? I mean, she is a terror to work for.
Her history is a very important part of this story and one that gets downplayed. You know, Dr. Battle was a student at Metro. She also taught in Metro. She was a principal over in Antioch, just a little over a decade ago. And then she was a community superintendent. And the roots of this lawsuit all take place when she was a community superintendent. If you'll remember, Sean Joseph divided up the district into 4 quadrants, and those were led by community superintendents. Dr. Battle was a superintendent at that time, along with 3 other individuals, and from all reports, their relationship was not always copacetic. So what happened is she was out on on maternity leave, and she was at a basketball game where her brother was coaching. Her brother got into an altercation with a parent who followed him into the locker room where he was struck by Carlton Battle.
Adrienne Battle's brother, yes.
Dr. Battle interjected it into it and told the principals that this was to stay between them, this was not to go any further, and proceeded to try to tamper down and protect her brother. Now, remember, she's not even working for the district at this time because she's on maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
The other community superintendent gets word of it the next day and loses her mind because that's her direct report. That report should come directly to her. and it didn't. And there was a larger argument between the four of them, more dissension between the four of them, and at one point, Dr. Battle was told by then Deputy Superintendent Cito Narcisse to stand down. James Bailey also went on and testified that her brother should have been suspended. He wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't fired. He wasn't suspended. And in fact, he still works for the district. He just happens to work in a different capacity for a nonprofit that is funded by the district. He was at Antioch during that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, isn't that convenient? Okay.
Yeah. And in deposition, Dr. Battle is on record defending the actions of her brother striking a parent. And so that's where it all stemmed from. And it's important to remember James Bailey, one of the plaintiffs of the lawsuit. James Bailey was a close family friend of Dr. Battle's up until about this time.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so it's interesting to me that they waited as long as they did to settle the lawsuit, because Bailey was personally hurt by the actions of Dr. Battle as much as professionally. And he has been vowing to people that when he hit the stand, that he had it all to say, and he was just going to throw it out there regardless of whether to help the case or not.
So what do the teachers think about, you said your wife is a teacher. What do the teachers overall think about the Metro School Board and these lawsuits?
I think the teachers, for the most part, and I got to make sure I make it clear, there's a clear separation of church and state between my wife and I when it comes to Metro schools,
Mm-hmm.
Just for practical reasons, as well as, I just don't want to play on that at home.
Right.
But in talking to teachers and the notes I'm getting, the teachers are mad because the teachers have had to fight for every bit of a raise they've gotten. Teachers are constantly under scrutiny and constantly being accountability.
Which is kind of weird, TC, because there's no accountability of Dr. Battle with all of these lawsuits being settled out of court, because I think, personally, I believe that it is clear that they settled these lawsuits to try to hide the truth. Do you agree with me, or am I over my skis on this whole thing where, they settled these lawsuits because they didn't want some of these allegations to come to light, or maybe further light?
Oh, I think it's 100% that somebody looked at Dr. Battle fondly because it said, this court date is not going to be pretty, that even if you won this lawsuit, you're going to lose, because all of this information is going to come spilling out, and it's going to go from rumors and talk behind the scenes still going on the public record. And it would have severely damaged. One thing that I think is interesting, too, that doesn't get enough coverage in all this, Dan, is that 5 to 6 months ago, the board gave Dr. Battle a substantial raise through a new contract.
Are you kidding me?
Yes, she got a new contract.
Okay, now hold on, TC, hold on. I got to make sure. They knew that these lawsuits had been filed.
Yeah.
Yet they gave her a substantial raise, and I just heard you say a new contract?
Right. Her new contract still had 2 years on it, and they gave her a brand new contract, extended the contract out, and put a raise so it's almost as high as, it's just under $400,000 now.
Okay,
so it's about a $7 raise.
Let me ask this. I'm face palming now, just so you know. Who does she ultimately report to? Like, is it the school board? Is it Bill Lee? Who does she report to?
Ultimately, she's supposed to report to the taxpayers. There is no clear cut who she officially reports to, because you remember Metro is set up, the school district is set up as a separate entity, and they did that way back when Nashville Incorporated. Is the school board is a separate entity from the city, and all the city can do is fund it. They can't even tell them what to use the money for. And it was purposely designed that there would be no influence from either Metro Council or the mayor on the school district itself. So ultimately, she's not responsible to anybody but the taxpayer.
Well, that's insanity. So who fires her? Who hires and fires her? Who agreed to give her the 6 month the new contract and the raise? The school board. Well, it sounds like she runs roughshod over the school board, though. It sounds like she runs them.
She does. And, I used to watch every meeting. I think for the last year and a half, I don't even watch board meetings anymore because there's never any question of her actions. There's never any question of things that are being done in the school. It's all a celebration and a move forward.
I don't this is mind-blowing to me.
Oh,
this
I
is
think it's
absolutely mind-blowing that she is so are you saying that she is unfireable? Is that basically what you're saying?
You would have to have the majority of board members step up and agree to fire her, and that's not going to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen.
TC, what did you think of Wally Dietz yesterday, or a couple of days, whenever it was, earlier this week, when he came out and said, she didn't do anything wrong, Adrian Battle didn't do anything wrong, and the $6.5 million was really the best business decision because we needed to save. It would have been, financially better in the long run.
Well, the better part of that was when he said that she did nothing wrong, and then later said doubts they would have won all 5 cases. So how are you going to lose 1 of 5 cases even if she did nothing wrong? To lose 1 case, you clearly would have had to have done something right or wrong. Am I wrong?
Right. No.
So he admitted that she had done something wrong while defending her that she hadn't done something wrong.
How worried are you, TC, that there's going to now be more lawsuits? Because if they're just settling lawsuits, and clearly they are, do you believe? And Fox 17 brought this up. Do you think that there's more lawsuits down the road?
Oh, I think there's 2 more sitting out there right now that are going to cost them. Howard Jones is the administrator who's already successfully sued the district once. His lawsuit for retaliation is coming through, and that's going to be an interesting one. And then we've got the parents of the Antioch shooter.
Yep.
Which, how do you, up until this week's board meeting, I would have said that was indefensible for Metro because they would have to go someplace. They would actually, to defend themselves, have to criticize these parents, and I didn't think they would do that. But after you had supporters of Dr. Battle and former school board member Sharon Gentry, or Chairman Sharon Gentry, get up and say that the only reason Battle is being criticized is because she scares people. Well, the people criticizing look just like her, and it's ludicrous to think that people that are looking for that are already underserved and are looking for a better education for their children would be upset by the so-called success of Dr. Battle.
No, I think all of this is insane, and I feel like I don't know if the state legislature can step in, somebody can step in. This is our taxpayer dollars that are literally being thrown away because of this, because of these lawsuits. Real quickly, what kind of retaliation are we talking about? Just, paint a bit of a word picture as to what it's like to work for Dr. Battle. If you speak out and you say, hey, you're teaching, you're teaching, racist and wrong lessons, or, hey, your brother punched a parent, that might be something we might need to look at. What happens to those people?
You could find yourself working somewhere else. You could find yourself getting lesser assignments. You could find yourself being closed out. I have to point out, too, that I also, to add to the ludicrousy, you're defending at the meeting, you were defending a lawsuit focusing on retaliation, but every one of the people that spoke up for Dr. Battle were either employees, they were principals, even though most of them didn't disclose that, or they were contractors for the district. So what if I had been a principal and decided to speak critically? Would that have been as warmly received as these other principals that she got to spoke out for?
Yep.
One of the people that talked, the first gentleman that talked, is the spouse of a principal, and the two didn't even sit together at the meeting. So not only disclose it, but I would argue that they willfully tried to obscure that they were related.
All right, real quick, TC, your wife works for the district, and Dr. Battle, I don't know, does she know that? I mean, are you worried about your wife's career?
I'm always worried about my wife. I'm worried about my kids.
Yeah, because your kids still go to Metro Nashville schools.
They still do. And we'll see where it goes. My daughter loves her school very, very much. And for the most part, it's been a good fit. And my son has been challenged. We've had, there's been many fights, both, overall and personal with Metro over the years. But I just don't have the options.
People are saying on the super text line, Adrian Battle's kids actually go to private school. Do you know if that's true? I'm
not 100% sure. Yeah. They would be kindergartners. They're awful. Remember, she was, they'd be a little older than kindergartners. Okay. Because remember, we had the first one about the time the Carlton Battle incident took place. So, that would have been about 9 or 10 years ago. That I don't know. Well,
if she'd ever be willing. TC, thank you very much for joining us here on WTN. The blog is called Dad Gone Wild at TC Weber. Great information. Thank you very much. I'd love for Adrian Battle to come on the program. I'm reasonably certain that she wouldn't, but, at least for me, I think I was hoping to get some clarity with that interview. I'm even more concerned now